In the heart of the Iraqi desert, there is a place where the wind sounds like a whisper from a grave. Today it is a landscape of broken mud bricks and scorched earth. But 3,000 years ago, it was the center of the human universe. Imagine a city so vast that its walls were said to be wide enough for 2 chariots to race atop them. A city where the gates didn't just open, they glowed with a blue so deep it looked like the midnight sky. Long before Rome was a village, before Athens shaped a single thought, there was Babylon. It was the first world city, a place where kings claimed the authority of gods and priests mapped the stars with terrifying precision. To enter its gates was to step into the apex of human achievement. It felt eternal. It felt unbreakable. But history has a cold habit of burying the eternal. This is the chronicle of the first vision of greatness, and the silent night it turned to dust. To understand the fall of Babylon, we must first understand the height from which it looked down upon the world. We begin in Mesopotamia, the land between the rivers. Here, the Tigris and the Euphrates were both givers of life and bringers of destruction. Babylon began as a shadow, a modest settlement of mud and reed. But in 1792 BCE, a ruler named Hammurabi took the throne. He understood a truth that still governs us today. A city is not built on stone, but on law. He carved his codes into black diorite pillars, establishing a terrifyingly clear justice. Under his hand, Babylon transformed. It became an imperial heart, a hive of trade, and a fortress of stability in a chaotic world. Now, imagine approaching the city at its absolute height, under the reign of Nebuchadnezzar II. From miles away, the skyline rises out of the flat, shimmering heat of the horizon. The first thing you see is the Ishtar Gate. Its surface is a masterpiece of glazed lapis lazuli bricks, reflecting the sun like a sapphire fortress. Golden lions, bulls, and dragons stride across the blue walls, frozen in a silent, eternal march. As you pass through, you enter the processional way. The sensory assault is immediate. The air is thick with the smell of burning bitumen, roasting meat, and expensive incense. You hear 1,000 languages blending together, merchants from the edges of the known world, trading silk, spices, and gold. 200,000 souls lived here, a population density that shouldn't have been possible in the ancient age. At the center stood the Etemenanke, the great ziggurat, a towering mountain of brick reaching for the heavens. This was the stairway to God, the monument that would be burned into human memory as the Tower of Babel. It was a symbol of a society that felt they had finally conquered the earth and were now coming for the stars. But beneath this brilliance was a dark, rhythmic machine of control. The beauty of Babylon was fueled by the sweat of a massive labor force, baking millions of bricks under a relentless sun. The Euphrates River was no longer a natural force. It was a prisoner, diverted through a complex web of canals to feed the city's ego and its hanging gardens. The Babylonian astronomers sat atop their towers, recording planetary motions night after night. They developed calculations so precise they still influence our 60-minute hour today. But their science was born of fear. They believed the stars were a countdown. They looked for omens in the sky, desperate to know when the gods would tire of their pride. By 539 BCE, the omens turned dark. To the east, a new power was rising, the Persians, led by Cyrus the Great. He didn't bring a massive army to break the walls. He brought a mind that understood biology and engineering. The people of Babylon felt safe. Their walls were too high to climb, and their gates too thick to burn. They had years of food stored. They mocked the Persians from the battlements. But Cyrus didn't attack the walls. He attacked the river. On a night of heavy feasting inside the city, Persian engineers completed a massive project. They diverted the flow of the Euphrates into a nearby basin. Imagine the scene. The roar of the great river, the very sound of the city's life, slowly fading to a trickle. Then a damp, heavy silence. The bronze river gates, which were designed to be impassable in deep water, now stood over an empty bed of stinking mud and silt. The Persian soldiers didn't scale the battlements. They simply walked underneath them, while the royalty of Babylon drank from golden cups. The enemy was already in the streets. No great battle, no final stand, just a silent change of hands. Babylon the Unconquerable fell without a single arrow being fired. The fall was not a sudden explosion, but a slow, painful rot. Under new rulers, the trade routes shifted. The complex canals, which required constant, disciplined maintenance, began to clog with silt. The Euphrates flooded the streets it once blessed. The blue tiles of the Ishtar gate began to crack and fall. The hanging gardens withered, their exotic trees turning to gray wood. The great ziggurat, the bridge to the divine, eroded until it was nothing more than a mound of melting clay. By the time travelers from the west arrived centuries later, they walked over the ruins without even knowing they were standing on the greatest city in history. The desert had won. Babylon reminds us that civilization is a temporary victory over the wild. We look at its ruins and see our own reflection. Every time we look at a clock, every time we walk through a planned city, every time we stand before a court of law, we are walking in the shadow of Babylon. The city proved that humanity could reach for the stars, but it also proved that even the mightiest walls are porous to time. The sand eventually takes everything back. The records are silent and the gates are closed. But if you listen to the wind and the dust, the story never truly ends. I'm Miles, and together we keep history reborn. I'll see you in the next era.